In today's video, let's talk about the do's and don'ts when it comes to running Facebook ads. I feel like it's really important as marketers to always be learning and staying up to date with some of the best practices or things to be doing in whatever industry that you're learning, but especially marketing, because as you all may know, the industry can change very, very quickly. The whole landscape can change. And so in this video, I hope to either teach you something new that you can go and implement today or reaffirm a belief that you already had previously about your Facebook ads, and hopefully I can help kind of just validate that belief that you already had. So if you don't already know who I am, my name is Sydney. I'm a Facebook ad expert at Vertex Marketing Agency. We offer a full done for you service for Facebook ads as well as coaching and consulting. And today I want to talk to you about the do's and don'ts for your Facebook ads. Something to keep in mind is that these aren't in any chronological order. There isn't one that's really more important than the other. I'm kind of just letting you know what my thoughts are, some of the do's and don'ts, so don't be too hung up on that. The first do I have for you guys is do test out different formats. While if you probably watch other YouTubers or other Facebook ad experts, they're probably going to tell you that video, mobile first video and UGC or user generated content is king right now. Most likely this is what's going to perform best, but it doesn't mean that you should not be testing out different formats like single images, graphics, just like regular branded videos, high production videos. So do test out different formats. If you take a look at our Facebook ad creative swipe file, which is completely free, you guys will get an idea of a ton of different ideas for your Facebook ads that aren't just UGC video. So do test out different formats and see what your audience responds to. Now, in light of testing out different formats, don't overly interrupt Facebook's algorithm and its automatic settings that it has to find the best audience for you. And what I mean by that is if you're testing out a new creative and you want to see if that single creative performs better on stories, newsfeed, or in the marketplace setting, don't single out a single placement as your placement of choice just so that you can get that data. Facebook has a pretty good way of deciding what placement will result in the best results for you. And yes, it does try to get the best results for you. So if you are trying or testing something out like a new creative, I would recommend choosing automatic placements. And if you do see that majority of your sales or revenue is coming from the newsfeed position, doesn't mean that you should only be selecting those the newsfeed, okay? It might be that a person will convert better on newsfeed if they see your story ad pop up a few times, maybe once on marketplace, and then they'll actually convert on newsfeed. And if those other placements are not relevant for that user, it most likely will not be shown there. If you use the breakdown feature and you see which placement or which platform your ad is being delivered on, most likely you're going to see that one is favored, but you might still have some reach and some spend in other placements. So don't overly interrupt Facebook's default placement and customizations because you personally think that it'll perform better. Let Facebook do the deciding. It is unfortunately a lot smarter than you are, even if you don't think so. So don't overly complicate it. Something that you don't want to do is you don't want to think there's only one way of doing things. I hope that you are following us on YouTube and a few other marketers, as well as maybe you're chatting with some of your business owner friends or in some communities so that you can feed off of each other, your knowledge, and understand that there is not only one way of doing things. If someone recommends using dynamic creative and someone recommends using a regular Facebook campaign, a lot of the times it actually comes down to preference. And while there are some best practices, and Facebook will typically outline that pretty clearly, they have recommendations of what you should choose, like automatic placements, campaign budget optimization, or ad set budget optimization. Again, that's sort of a preference, but like detailed targeting, expansion, these type of things are typically recommended very clearly by Facebook. And outside of that, a lot of things do come down to preference or to, what that marketer prefers to do. So there is not only one way of doing things, but do bounce ideas and get knowledge from many different people so that you can make the best informed decision as possible. And lastly, don't overly narrow down your targeting options like I guess we used to do in the past. If you're new to Facebook, then you don't have that issue, but get it out of your mind that getting as narrow as possible for your targeting, for your interest targeting, is going to be better. Also, don't use very narrow custom audiences because these most likely are not going to perform very well. Facebook does better with a larger audience to choose from with a very broad targeting option. So I guess do use broad targeting, and do focus on creatives, and don't spend so much time using the detailed targeting option and wondering what interests to choose. For the most part, your targeting and your lookalike audiences are going to be built on your creative. So focus on creative. And the final one, if I've already said lastly, then I didn't mean it. And actually, this maybe is one of the most important things, but do make sure that any research that you're doing about Facebook ads or some of the best practices or some like do's and don'ts, strategies, tips, make sure that this information is dated after about April of 2021. And that's because that is when iOS 14 really kicked in for like the entire population. iOS 14 was launched on September 16th, 2020, but it really was kind of in beta, got rolled out. Not everyone had it downloaded, but I think the automatic update that everyone had to be on was in about April or June of 2021. Make sure that any information that you're getting or advice or anything dates after April of 2021, around that point, just to make sure that you actually are up to date and that those strategies are still relevant, like for example, targeting and what placements to use, etc. and the campaign structure, everything like that. So if at any point through this video you are confused, maybe that like you're doing these things and I said don't do it, or you are doing it and you have further questions and you don't really feel like the YouTube comments can really suffice for the amount of explanation that you need, we also do have a free forum called Coffee and Marketing where we can sit down, have a coffee, and you can ask your questions about marketing, and either myself or Cedric will get back to you. And again, it is free to create an account. It is free for you to post these questions, and you can use screenshots. You can add any other information in there that you might not be able to in the YouTube comments, or maybe just like don't really want to share it here. So feel free to go to coffeeandmarketing.org and ask your questions for free there.